In a small, remote village nestled within the heart of a lush, dark forest, a legend was whispered from one generation to the next, the legend of Llorona, the Weeping Woman. She was said to be a beautiful woman who had once lived in the village, known for her striking beauty and flowing raven hair. Her life took a tragic turn when she fell deeply in love with a handsome, charismatic man from a neighboring village. Their love was passionate and fiery, but as the years passed, the man grew restless and unfaithful. Consumed by jealousy, Llorona believed that she could win back his love by offering him the most precious gift of all, their children, but her love had become madness, and she couldn't bear the thought of sharing her children with him. One fateful night, she drowned her children in the river, their innocent cries fading into the darkness. When she realized the gravity of her terrible act, despair consumed her. She wandered the village streets, searching for her lost children, her anguished cries echoing through the night. The villagers, horrified by her actions, dubbed her Llorona, the Weeping Woman, a name that would haunt the village for generations. As the village moved forward in time, the tale of Llorona became a ghost story, a way to scare children into obedience and to make wayward lovers think twice. But one dark, moonless night, as a heavy mist descended upon the village, the legend seemed to come to life. A young mother named Maria, living in the same village as Llorona centuries ago, had always been intrigued by the story. Her curiosity led her to venture into the forest one night, with her baby son safely cradled in her arms. Unbeknownst to her, the misty night bore an eerie resemblance to the night when Llorona had lost her children. As Maria wandered deeper into the forest, her curiosity turned into a sense of dread. The eerie silence was broken only by the distant sound of a woman weeping. Her baby began to stir in her arms, and she clutched him closer, feeling a growing unease. The weeping grew louder and closer, until Maria saw her, a spectral figure dressed in white, her long raven hair streaming like a waterfall. It was Llorona, the Weeping Woman, risen from the depths of the legend. Her hollow eyes were filled with a deep, mournful sadness, and her arms reached out toward Maria's baby. In her desperation to win back her lost children, she believed that any child she could find might be her own. Maria, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as Llorona snatched the baby from her arms and disappeared into the mist. Maria's cries of despair echoed through the forest, mirroring the sorrow of the weeping woman. The villagers, drawn by the cries, found her weeping at the riverbank, her baby lost to the darkness. Days turned into weeks, and the village lived in perpetual dread, knowing that Llorona had returned. The once-believed ghost story had become an unsettling reality. The villagers held a solemn ceremony to remember Maria's baby, and the legend of Llorona transformed from a simple tale to a haunting reminder of the darkness within the human heart. In the years that followed, more children began to disappear, stolen by the Weeping Woman. The villagers, paralyzed with fear, avoided the forest at night, but their efforts were in vain. The legend was now a relentless, terrifying presence, and it was a dark, moonless night when Llorona descended upon the village. She stood by the riverbank, her ghostly form shrouded in mist, her eyes filled with an eternal sadness. The villagers huddled in their homes, praying for safety, but they knew that Llorona would not be stopped. As the night wore on, the villagers heard the sound of weeping that grew closer and closer. Llorona had come to the village itself. She moved through the streets, her ghostly form illuminated only by the flickering candles in the windows. Her mournful cries echoed through the village, striking terror into the hearts of all who heard. In the darkest hour of the night, Llorona entered a small cottage where a young girl slept. The villagers watched in silence as she reached for the child, her fingers icy cold, her touch hauntingly gentle. The girl awoke with a start, and before she could scream, Llorona wept, her mournful cries filling the room. The villagers rushed to the cottage, but it was too late. The young girl was gone, taken by the Weeping Woman. The villagers stood in shock, their faces pale and their hearts heavy with sorrow. From that night on, Llorona remained a dark presence, her legend forever a part of the village's history. No child in the village ever ventured into the forest at night, and the villagers learned to live with the knowledge that the Weeping Woman would always be there, lurking in the shadows, her mournful cries echoing through the night. And so the legend of Llorona continued to haunt the village, a chilling reminder of the tragic love and madness that could turn a once beautiful woman into a vengeful and sorrowful spirit, forever weeping for her lost children.